Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Denise Ye, Head of the Digital Analytics at Leasman Digital. Today, I would like to share with you about how you can activate your inner superpower to drive analytics beyond the ballroom to drive that cultural change within your organizations. Let's begin. Before we talk about the content, I must bore you a little bit about myself. Who am I? Why do I qualify to talk to you about such topic? It sounds rather controversial, isn't it? I spent more than 15 years working in various different roles in digital fields, of which 9 years I focus on digital analytics. I've lived and worked in 3 continents. If I put it into data visualization, it will look like this. Since 2015, I've lived in Europe. Here are some of the brands and the focus I've been working with in my career. Since 2018, I joined Leasman Digital and focused on smart mobility. I like to draw my inspiration from my day-to-day and take them to work. And I'm sure like many of you, we've been watching a lot of Netflix. Lately, I got my inspiration from becoming Michelle Obama's Netflix documentaries, which she talked about. Don't worry so much about stats. Focus on your story, because story is your power. And I surely hope that by sharing my story, which is here, is able to help you identify and activate your inner superpower. In my last positions, I have worked with brands with great heritage: Adidas, Reebok, and now Leasman. What do they have in common? Well, they are all more than 60 years old. They are all operating more than 32 countries. Adidas and Reebok are footwear, sportswear manufacturer. They manufacture the shoes, the sportswear, distribute them all over the globe for you as a potential customers to feel them, to experience them. If you like them, you purchase them, you put it on your feet, and there you go. You run in them, you play your football in them. That's what the business model is about. What about Lisbon? Lisbon is a global leading car as a service mobility providers. We have 1.8 million cars in our fleet, and we service 130,000 customers all over the globe. And you might ask, what is car as a service? I will explain later. In both positions, I work in digital. And you might be thinking, what is the role of the digital then? The way how I see it is that digital is where we could create direct relationship with our customers. And why digital? Because digital is where our customers are. We obviously want to be with where our customers are. We want to be at a channel where they feel comfortable, they feel convenience, therefore digital. And why do we want to be where our customers are? That might be a simple but maybe a complex question, because customers are our starting point. Who are our customers? Our customer segments are 3 primaries: corp, small medium enterprise, and private. And here is an example of our real customers, no joking. And I promised you earlier that I will explain to you what is a cost of service business model. Let's say if you're interested in getting a car from us, you have an interest to purchase a car or lease a car. From that point onwards, we also provide you leasing or financing options. We also provide insurance. Once you get a car, the car is delivered, you absolutely need to get a fuel card or fuel management. We can do that for you as well. Your car needs maintenance, needs repair. If you get into an accident or you want to change the tires, we're there for you. And all the way at the end of the customer life cycle, if you're no longer interested in the car, you want to give back the car to our fleet, we're happy to take so. We can resell the car and maybe get you another car to keep you going. This full cycle will take minimum 2 years. But for our customers, he don't care. He just want to go to work, or maybe in this time, stay home. but then pick up the kids, go to a restaurant with the wife, and then if they go to a restaurant or go somewhere, they want to go home with their car, and maybe on holidays, we hope that he will use our services as well. Then in this whole thing, you can imagine that it generates a lot of data. What is the role of analytics then? Our role here is to piece together the puzzle of all the data are being generated by our customers along their customer journeys. Here are just a slew of examples. Using those data, we want to build the solutions that is suiting for our customers' needs. How do we do that? Well, we focus on desirability, feasibility, and viability. We use data to validate those points. In the meantime, for our customers, what is the thing that they really wanted from us? Let me give you examples. We developed the click and drive showroom where our customers can browse at the time that is convenient for them through the options, for the budget, mileage, whatever they have in mind in their own time on their preferable digital devices. This is convenience, and 80% of the process could be done digitally. Another solution that we deploy is what we call proactive maintenance. This means that before the car needs to go into the garage for maintenance, that our algorithm is able to predict and prompt an appointment message to our customer to a convenient garage that's near to them. In that way, we want to ensure that the customer spends least effort to make appointment, to spend least downtime for their mobility. Therefore, they can spend more time with their family and make sure that they have their mobility needs getting from point A to point B. This thinking help us to stay growth and then result driven. It's very important notion that we want to make sure that we're going to the right direction. We know it's hard. Therefore, result and growth are everything that we keep in mind. This also helps us to go like this way. We're so aligned, we're going to the people. Nobody wants that. For our customers, I think our aspiration obviously is that we want our customer to experience this is as smooth as they are listening to a world-class orchestra. This analogy basically means the audience is the customers, the conductor is the person or the function making sure that we are deploying the right solution with the true north in mind, playing that harmonious symphony. And where is the team, the people actually building the solutions? That's the cross-functional team in the middle of the stage, the orchestra. It might sound like we have figured out a perfect formula. We nailed it, right? You probably have the impression that we nailed it. The fact is, maybe not. Having the above characteristic doesn't really guarantee that analytics program will be successful. We're here to talk about analytics, right? What I think about the DNA of analytics organization is critical to ensure we are on the right path, to play along, to be part of the organization, to be part of the conversation. And what are the DNA? It must be impact-driven and also need to be purpose-led. Having those two characteristics help us to differentiate the conversation and the mentality. Not just focus on the data, but really focus on the impact and the purpose. And the spirit is, without data, you or I am just a person with opinion. Also, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Well, that's a lot of negative terms in there, but maybe let me say it this way. What gets measured usually gets improved and optimized, right? So the whole notion of measuring is that you want to exercise the influence of the business. And I think that's the key notion of analytics. Now, let's talk a little bit more in depth. What do I mean by that? Well, if we talk about measuring, right, that is an analytic focus. Oftentimes when we talk about measuring, we focus on what happened in the past tense. If we go a little bit more advanced, we talk about what did it happen? we go into the diagnostic field. The next step, as you can imagine, we want to think about what will it happen, go into the predictive field. The last mile is how can we make it happen given the context that we know again and again at the scale that we want it to be, or even at the larger scale. Here are more of the primary analytic focus as you can find in a lot of the modern analytics maturity program model. What I like to emphasize here is that this analytic focus actually drastically reduce the human input at a scale, at a frequency. All right, so this is the beauty of it. All of a sudden, analytics is not just about measuring things with your tape, but it's how do you empower the organization to reduce the human input. To do what? To get to faster, more frequent, larger scale of the business decisions. I call this still under the category of business output. Make decisions and then what? You want to take actions, right? It's still under the business output. It's not an outcome yet. The outcome comes at a last mile is under the business results. So this is a rather long process, and this entire process, it really matters and help you to see what gets measured, gets improvement must show up on the results. In order to do so, as you can imagine, it will require a quite diverse pool of the talent and different expertise depth to fulfill such visions. To make it simple, I think there are three different skills that we're focused here: business skill, technology skill, and analytical skills. And if I make it full-fledged into different functions, at Lisbon Digital, it looks like this. And these are the roles that actually exist in our current organization, which we're very proud of. Let's say if that's how the talent pool look like, the different domain expertise look like, what are we building, right? Within the analytics portfolio, we have product and services. And the product and services is something that we adopt the software development methodology and thinking, right? So obviously they need to have a clear purpose. They need to have a critical business problem to be solved while keeping the customer's need in the center. Yes, you guessed it right. I'm a big fan of sprints and Scrum methodology. The reason why I like this is because you take the customer feedback and also not looking for a perfect solution. That bi-weekly rhythm is really the key by building from MVP toward to a better optimized product and the services. And this applies for everything that we do. And I often also hear that people wonder, like, you build analytics product and the services, but if you're not part of business, you cannot really make this work. Remember, we talked about our customers at the beginning, right? In order to make the analytics product and services beneficial for our customer, it must be embedded with the business from end to end in the customer journeys. In this case, and it's no longer analytics supporting the business. Analytics is part of the business, and we work with all the different functions like what is shown here. And this is a really powerful model for all of us to work together. And here is an example of a full-fledged live product and services that we offer from the analytics area toward to the end-to-end customer journeys. The end goal, obviously, is to get to the result. We can see the results showing up on our book. I must admit that it's not always easy. It might sound like a walk in the park, but it's not. Why is that the case? Well, because remember we talk about we want to be impact-driven and we want to be purpose-led. Impact-driven often involves change, and that means involves people. Right? So if you are familiar with the change theory, it's not about how do you make it work, how do you make it ready before you can make it work. The point is about how do you make it last, how do you amplify it, right? We all know that we no longer live in the era that we have one fierce leaders and we follow this leader going left or right. We're in a much more modern and autonomous environment where we are connected to our colleagues, our customers over the world digitally. So much difference than this simple one fearless model, how do we really make this work then? Thinking about under the lens of data driven and analytics. It's people in the culture. People in the culture are the engine of any organization or community. And here is a picture of Lisbon Digital. And you won't be able to see who is the big boss in here because he is one of us. He is hidden somewhere in the photo. He's also participating in the workshop. And here's a photo of my team. I'm right here as well. It's those people that made it come, not me, not the big boss. So, having that in mind, what is my proposal? Well, if you're used to this organization chart, I think that really just does not represent the work environment, isn't it? Because your work environment more probably look like this way. You have all the colleagues focus on different areas, the colleagues who are really focused on commercial, knows everything about commercial, and people actually advise this person's opinions, and this person has his own network when it comes to topic of commercial, the same with operation, the same with marketing. So here you are, the organization actually has more influencers on depends on the topic that is not limited just to the org chart and our fearless leaders. The point is that we can use those influencers to activate more of the data-driven notion. If this you are still not convinced, let me show you what it looks like from an influencer marketing point of view. In the influencer marketing, there's a theory. We talk about three different levels of influencer as mega influencer, macro influencer, and micro influencer. Who could be a mega influencer? Beyonce, 141 million followers. That reach is pretty broad. She definitely belongs to the mega influencer field. A macro influencer could be Mustafa 7. He's a worldwide famous photographer, has 1.6 million followers. Pretty big, but it's probably more focused on the photography or the topics that he photographs. Still quite a bigger reach, not as big as Beyonce. And the micro influencer example will be Craving Amsterdam. Having 130k followers, she is a full stylist and photographer, not as big as follower as Beyonce or Mustafa, but she probably has a quite engaging community here in the Netherlands as well as Amsterdam. That gives her a different levels of the engagement and the reach with her community. So if you think about that, going back to the org chart, the leaders help us define what is the strategy, what are the annual goals, priority, and the results, linking back to our true north. But really, it's the people who are working daily that look like this, helping us to look into the result-based management, to take actions, to take decisions using on the data so they can improve and innovate. And these people, if you are able to identify who are the catalysts, you will be able to deploy more actions for bigger impact. All of that will go back to the true north. That is the business KPI, the customer KPIs that we're hoping to move. And don't be fooled, whether they are a mega influencer, a macro influencer, might not necessarily have to do with their org chart hierarchy. So you could be an influencer yourself as well. And you said, Denise, the theory sounds great, but we often get caught up with who is going to do what. I hear you. That is quite a bit of a common problems or challenges that we have encountered, right? How do we solve that? Well, this is what we do at Lisbon. We demystify the data-driven notion and ownership and actionability with KPI trees. Here I'm showing you an example of business target customer journey X that has a direct relationship linking to the gross profit. This business target obviously has a full-fledged of a KPI tree that look like this. Quite a lot of details. I understand. We're talking about end-to-end customer journey. Of course, it's complex. I'm sure your organization, your business also has this level of the complexity as well. Let's move on into the KPI ownership and accountability. If we split between KPI 15.1 and 15.2 using color coding, we can see that KPI 15.1 below belongs to the marketing department, where the KPI owner at 15.1 is marketing manager, and his teams are the individual KPI owners beneath. KPI 15.2, the owner is the product owner for a customer journey X. And through this product owner and his team, his organization, we will further identify who is the KPI owners and the KPI groups. What I would like to stress here is that the KPI is not set in stone once and then we don't touch about it anymore. KPI is something that we look at it daily, weekly, monthly. And when the KPI is moving either negatively or positively, and this gives us a clear indication if the KPI owner or the group need to take actions. More importantly, the KPI tree is built in a direct indicator way. So what do I mean by that? Let's say KPI 50.2 is the highest hierarchy on the product organization. And the direct indicator model basically means that if KPI 17.1 goes up 5%, while rest of the KPI remains flat, KPI 15.2 will also go up by 5%. And this demonstrates the impact and the contribution of an individual or the group can contribute it toward to higher level of the impact and contribution to the business. This becomes extremely powerful for the analytics team because all of a sudden now the roles that we have within the customer journey, we know who to talk to in order to make the decision and action influencing. So for our performance analysts, here are the functions that she will be talking to. For our data management specialist, here is the different slew of functions. Our data visualization developers has a different focus, so is our data engineers. All the goals here is to empower the organization to be more data proficient so we can take decisions, actions to impact the business outcome. We keep talking about this point, building a community to inspire people, to enable people to take decision, is because we perfectly understand that to be data driven as an organization is not just an analytics job to be data savvy. We want this notion, data proficiency, data literacy, to infiltrate organization as if the rains raining on Amsterdam Canal that look like this. This is important because it helps us to break down the echo chamber of analytics. What is the echo chamber of analytics? Sometimes you might have two analysts and some data scientists talk about the organization doesn't care to be data driven. Nobody really understands about data, and it's just the data people are talking about the problems. Yeah, that is the echo chamber, and we need to break the echo chamber. You might ask, spend all that effort for what? To help the organization to prioritize decision making and take action faster, more frequent, at a larger scale, because we know that only by taking actions we are traveling from point A to the point B. And that's the most important notion of being data driven. The empowering, the infiltrating organization is a key of the inner power that we need to activate here. Analytics is both defense and offense and help the organization to possess the sharpest spear and the most sturdy shield, the unstoppable force and the immovable object. We want to empower the decision makers on the front line to make decisions and take actions. Everyone, yourself, myself, our colleagues, could be influencers. If you still do not believe me, you might be surprised, and here is an inspiration I would like to share with you. This is the old Adidas commercial. The commercial is called Jose plus 10. Who is the plus 10? The people here, they are you can call them football World of Famers. You can see the young Beckham, you can see Beckenbauer, you can see Kaká, Zidane, they're all in there. And who is Jose? Jose is your star influencer. He played football on the dirt ground, but don't be fooled, he calls shots of those footballers. Obviously, we need more Jose. You can be Jose, the more, the merrier. To sum up, what will keep us busy in 2020s? Turn the analytics output to the business outcome. The full cycle only ends with faster decision making, action taking, and actually yielding a measurable business results. Second, no matter what you do within your organization, I'm sure all of you have KPI. KPI is not the most important thing. Remember to establish the ownership and accountability. This helps you to eliminate. So who is going to do what? Remember that? We're going to eliminate that through KPI ownership and accountability. Last but not least, identify your inner power, your colleagues' inner power to deploy influencer network to help drive organization data proficiency and literacies. You might be pleasantly surprised who are the real bosses. And that's what I would like to share with you on this webinar. Thank you for your time and attention, and also thanks for UXDX for hosting this webinar. Let's stay connected on LinkedIn.